Hello everyone! Today, Maddie and I will be showing you the books that we have bought recently. Since it's our first book haul, we'll be showing you books from over the last few months. But in later videos, we will probably only show a month's worth of books. We hope that you enjoy this video. Maddie will show you her books first.
I haven't read The False Prince in a really long time, and I've been wanting to read it, so when I found it at the thrift store, I decided to get it. It's not in the best condition, but it doesn't really bother me. I'm hoping I can find the next two books so that I can complete the series. This is the second book in the Giver series. I really like The Giver. I haven't actually finished the whole series, I still have the last one to read, but it's on my list to read pretty soon. I want to get all the books in the Giver series, but I'm kind of wishing I hadn't gotten this one, just because it's not my favorite cover. It's not terrible, but I kind of wish I had waited to find a better copy. I bought this book mainly because it was published in 1916 and I really like old books, and also because it was half off. But years ago I had read a little bit of it for school and I thought I might like to read it again, but it was still I mainly got it because it was old and cheap. This was another book that I mainly bought because it was old. It was published in 1951, but in this case it was not cheap. It's one of the more expensive books I've bought in a while. It was about $7. It's the second book in the Winnie the Pooh series, and even though I haven't read any of the Winnie the Pooh books yet, who doesn't like Winnie the Pooh? A while ago we started reading this book as a family, but we didn't end up finishing it. I haven't read anything by C.S. Lewis that I haven't liked, so I'm excited to continue reading it. It kinda has a creepy cover, but I guess it just goes with the book. Amelia read this book for school last year, and she thought that I might like it, so after a long interval, I finally read it just a couple months ago. For some reason, I wasn't really sure about this book, probably because Amelia had to read it for school. But once I started reading it, I read through it so fast and I really liked it, so I was really excited to find it at the thrift store. I believe this edition was published in 1949, though I'm not sure exactly because it does not have a publication date. So far, I've only read 2 Shakespeare books, but I really like them. I really like the Folger Shakespeare Library because it makes reading Shakespeare so much easier, because it has a summary of each scene and definitions of old words and phrases and everything, and it just makes it a lot more enjoyable. So I'm looking forward to reading these 3 books. This book is interesting because it's in German. It's called The Broken Jug. I have never heard of this, I have never read it, I really don't know anything about it. But I found this in the antique section at one of my favorite thrift stores. Since I'm learning German, I thought it would be kind of fun, and it's actually pretty cool because this edition was made especially for students. So it has an introduction in English, and then it has notes and a dictionary in the back. But I'm excited to read this someday, hopefully pretty soon. This book was a bit of an impulse buy. I don't own any art books, and I've never really thought about buying them. But this one interested me. It not only has art in it, but it has quite a bit about the artists and the paintings, and it looked pretty cool, so I decided to get it. I haven't read it yet, but I've looked through it a little and I'm excited to read the whole thing.
And now I will show you the books that I have bought. So I've seen several copies of this book at the thrift store before, and I never got it because I just didn't want to waste the space on my shelf for a book I wasn't sure if I would actually like. But I saw it again and I decided I probably would like it, or at least want to read it and try it. So I decided to get it just so I can read it without having to get it at the library. And I'm excited to try it out, and hopefully I will be reading this book soon. So I just read this book a little bit ago from my mom's copy, and then I found this one at the thrift store, which I've probably seen a lot, but I hadn't really thought about getting it because I hadn't read it yet, but I found it and I decided I would continue in my collection. My collection of these books, they're all different editions, and it's kind of annoying, but I decided I would just keep going and just getting the ones I find, because all of the ones I have so far are either antique books or just different editions from ones I have. I probably would read this book again, which is the main reason I got it, and also I just wanted to continue in my series. I really liked this book. I hadn't read an Anne of Green Gables book in a long time, So it was nice to get back into that series. I'm pretty close to having finished it. I think there's 8 or 9 in the series, and hopefully I will be reading those soon too. So in my German class, we learn a lot about old German composers, and that was always my favorite part of German class. So when I found these books, I thought it would be really interesting to learn more about their lives, and also the spines are really pretty, so I thought they would look nice on my shelf. And I haven't started either one yet. I've looked at them a little bit, but I'm hoping when I catch up on my reading schedule, I can start reading these. So I already own a copy of this book, but this cover was just really cool, so I decided that I would get it even if I never find the other ones in this set. And also the person who gave it away to the thrift store had left a Hogwarts Express ticket bookmark in the book, so I decided I definitely had to get it. I've read this book 2 times now, and it's definitely one that I'm fine with owning multiple copies of. So I actually bought this book full price online, which I rarely ever do, but it was a signed copy and there was only a few left, so I decided I would just take a risk with it and try it out. It's book 3 in the Ilion Chronicles series, and it was definitely not my favorite in the series so far, but this is my first signed book that I've bought, so that was kind of exciting, so I'm still glad I got it, even though it wasn't quite my favorite so far. So I had to read Call of the Wild for school, and it definitely was not my favorite book. But I didn't like the copy that I had, so I wanted to get one that I liked better. And I found one, but it came in a set of 3 books, so I decided to get the whole set. So far I've read the selected stories and poems of Edgar Allan Poe, and it was definitely an interesting collection of stories. I'm not a huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe, but I was glad that I read it, and I'm still glad that I got the whole set. I have not read the selected sketches and stories of Mark Twain yet, but I'm planning to read that one soon. It does help that they're short too. If the stories had been any longer, I probably would have lost interest a lot faster than I did. So this is the 7th book in a series of unfortunate events, and I'm slowly getting all 13 of the books. I've decided only to get hardback copies, but they're a little harder to find, so I think I only have 5 or 6 of the books in the series so far. It's been a long time since I've read this book, but I do remember that I did really like it. It's kind of hard to get through the first 3 books for me in this series just because I know the plot so well, but all the later ones I really liked.
We hope that you enjoyed seeing the books that we have bought. Thank you for watching our video.